um, it's is a very widespread problem or issue. So if you notice that you're getting anxious about talking, you said, you can think about what is scaring you, and you said you're scared that somebody's going to laugh at you, right?
Yeah, laugh at my English, probably pronunciation, maybe accent.
So I want you to notice what kind of thought that is. That's what I would call a negative prediction. You have an idea that something bad is going to happen. It hasn't, but you're scaring yourself by thinking that it will. So you can ask yourself, can you predict the future?
I don't think so.
Okay. And so then if you come out of that negative prediction and just into what's happening when you're talking to somebody, how do you like it? How do you like talking to native speakers? Do you know?
Oh, that's tough question.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Like natural, maybe.
What's that? I didn't catch that. It's
Talk,
natural?
like, talking in natural way, maybe.
Well, whatever way, however it is that you're talking to people, you can see what it's like, right? Because usually, what the reason we scare ourselves with that idea that like something bad is going to happen is it takes us away from something that's happening in reality, something that's actually happening. I'm assuming that people are not laughing at you. I don't see why they would. Talking to you for right now, I mean, there's nothing to laugh about. It's, easy to understand you. You seem like a pretty reasonable person. What would they be laughing at? What reason do I have to laugh? Because you make a mistake?
Well, probably.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
um,
Like I said,
yes.
you can check out what it's actually like to talk to somebody rather than scaring yourself with what they're thinking or what they're gonna be doing. You could see, oh, what is it like to talk to someone? Maybe you make some mistakes. Maybe you are understood. Maybe you meet a new person, learn a little bit about them. You know,
Yeah.
actually enter into the relationship that you're starting as you talk to someone, because that's what happens when you talk to people. You start developing a kind of relationship. The issue for me that I want you to know, that I want you to realize, is that um, it's not a language issue. Getting worried about what people think or what they're going to say or how they're going to respond to us, that's not a language issue. You don't solve that by learning more language. You could be a perfect native speaker with a perfect American accent. Somebody still might laugh at you. Somebody still might not want to talk to you, because people have all kinds of reactions to other people. Now,
Yes.
as you develop your ability to talk in English, uh, and understand what people are saying, and understand, let's say, the culture of whoever you're talking to, American culture, British culture, or Australian culture, wherever the people are that you're talking to, and the more you do it, the more you become familiar, the easier it is, and probably the less anxious you'll be, because when we are familiar with something, we, we feel more comfortable. We get scared about things that are unfamiliar. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
Do you,
that's right.
right? So maybe it's a new experience talking to someone from another country. Sounds exciting, right? Get to meet somebody who's from a different place. Maybe they have different beliefs or different ways of looking at the world. It can be eye-opening experience. That's kind of what we do
Yes, it
here.
is.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Go ahead.
No. It's fine. It's fine. Please keep talking. I'm listening to you.
I was just saying that that's what we do here. We have people who join from many different countries and places and backgrounds and ages, and you have a chance to talk to them and see what it's like. We have native speakers or fluent speakers, advanced speakers, intermediates, beginners, teachers, all kinds of people come here. I don't know if you're new to the group, but all kinds of people come here and participate.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So the thing that the other thing we do here is also like when somebody comes and brings an issue like you had, we check if other people have a similar experience. So you could say, right, does anybody else have that experience of getting anxious and when you talk to people, maybe native speaker or English speaker, and how do you manage it? So I don't know. Matthew Davis. I'm sorry. I missed the name of the person I was speaking to, but anybody who's still on the stage, if you wanted to join, go ahead.
James, nice to meet you.
Hi. Hi, Jota.
I'm coming from the Dominican Republic, and I'm agree with you. I'm a beginner English student. That's why I'm here. I want to learn English. I want to meet people that speak English and native speakers to practice and know and lose the skirt to speak English, because I want to know. I want to practice. I want to meet people that speak English as a native speaker.
Mm-hmm. So I'm a native speaker, and you have a chance to talk to me. So feel free.
One thing that I want to know is what's gonna be the dynamic of this course. Every Sunday we have a meeting, or every single day we have the meeting at the same time. I want to know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Yeah. So I do it a little bit more casually than that. I do a class here every Monday, and I will post the link to that class so you can make sure to come. There's a class tomorrow that you're welcome to come to. Here it is. Open Conversation with James Green, Mondays. And there's a little bit of a description. Copy that and put it in the chat. So this is one regularly scheduled event that I do. There's other classes by other teachers in the events channel that you can sign up for. You can see Grant there is a teacher in the group. Nellie is a teacher in the group. We have a bunch of teachers. And so for my classes, I do different things. Mostly I do open conversations. I host a space for us to talk. Now, with that said, you may come in with more specific questions, pronunciation issues, or grammar, or specific debate topics. I kind of go with the flow for how each week how I feel. But, for this, the main idea, the main dynamic of this 90 minutes is joining, integrating, and developing our group as just a group of people who come. You didn't sign up. You just kind of, it's like a open door policy. Just come on in, stay for as long as you want, and leave whenever you like. So for this open door policy, I do kind of an open conversation. And so you can listen to what other people say, listen to what I say. And I suggest you practice something that I call summarizing. Summarizing is you listen to what somebody says, and then you give a short summary of what you heard from them. And you check, did I understand you correctly? Is this what you said? Did I miss something? And this develops our ability to understand each other, check our understanding, check our listening ability to listen and stay engaged in a conversation, and then after checking our understanding, participating, building. Now, a conversation is like a building. You put one piece and then another piece and then another piece, and eventually we have something that we have created together based on everything that we all add. So that's what we're practicing here. It's like the art of conversation, and you're free to respond and disagree, talk about what it's like to be here, or bring things from your outside of this class. If you're taking classes somewhere, if you're in school, or if you have a private tutor, or if you just study on your own, read books, whatever it is, if you want to bring that in, we can work with that too. So there's a variety of sources we can build on, but it's mainly about being spontaneous, responding appropriately, and being able to keep up. So, anybody want to tell me now, what did you hear me say? Not all of it, just a little summary.
Okay, can I say something?
Sure, I know.
So you were talking about summarizing when you talk about some topics, some specific topics, and we paraphrase this, what we heard, what we understood, and retell it to you, I guess.
That's right. And I put a grid called the Savi grid into the chat. It's the system for analyzing verbal interaction. And you'll notice that summarizing is in box 8. Box 8 is in the green light row, and that means it's easy to communicate, there's less noise, more signal of what we're saying, and it's part of responding, right? So it's a way to respond. When we listen to someone, we can respond by summarizing them, telling them what you heard, just like you did, which is great, and then building. So go ahead, if you'd like to, Anel. You got me, you understood me, you summarized me just like I asked, and now, if you have something, you can add it to what we're talking about. Hi, Aso. Welcome.
So I think it would be great if we, for example, take some topic, like any random topic, and talk about it.
Great.
And some of our speakers here in the Tribune would paraphrase it. For example, we talk about...
Yeah, that's what we're doing. That's exactly what we're doing. So what topic would you like to talk about?
I don't know.
Yeah.
For example, what about using mobile phones for children under the age of 13 is prohibited?
Great.
For example,
go ahead.
I need to think about it.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah. So see, the thing is, talking about something is work, and so don't give yourself too much work, more work than you can handle, and also don't put work on other people that you wouldn't do yourself. So it's a kind of balance as we bring in topics of interest, what we can say and what we can do, to the extent that we can. Great. Hi, Yeet. You have a sound problem. Maybe check if you can... Yeah, I put you down into the audience because I don't hear any voice. I just hear a kind of some noise from you.
Hello?
I don't know if you can hear me, Yeet. Go ahead, Aso.
I don't know what should I talk. Is it about the same topic that member? I even don't remember his name. The issue of using mobile phones under the age of a specific age of those kids. So I see that kids should be under surveillance, under the should be being watched by their parents. Shouldn't be keep their mobile phones or their iPad or whatever in their hands without being watched by their parents. This is my idea.
If you don't mind me asking, why should we watch the kids while they are using these devices?
Because they are still teenagers and they are unaware of the bad issues around them.
So it's because the teenagers they're not aware, even though we can find some aware teenagers at that age. So what are the consequences of using such a device at a young age?
Though they are in the age of being matured, but they are not matured enough to use their mobile phone without being watched from their parents.
Understandable, but maybe I wasn't clear, articulated, didn't I?
You can
Formulate
see
the
if
question in a
you
good way.
choose
Which,
any
like, my
side.
question was, the thing is,
If we
what
are
are the
talking about
consequences?
Yes.
I'm going to jump in here. So what we do is, instead of talking at the same time, we try to do one at a time. And the best way to do that is, rather than pushing Aso Baker with a question about, her argument, I'd like you to try to join Aso in the investigation. So if you have these questions, it's great, and I'd like you to lead the response. Right? So instead of challenging other people to create better arguments, I'd like you yourself to bring in the reasoning steps that you have.
Okay. I was trying new methodologies of talking, practicing the savvy grid. So, anyways, the thing is, I view that.
Well, that wouldn't be the savvy. With the savvy grid includes everything. See. Savvy grid, you could do anything with the savvy grid. You can, attack people or listen to them. So the question is not whether you're using the savvy grid, but how. How are we using it?
Yeah. I'm trying to do that because speaking in itself is kind of, I wouldn't say complicated to overcomplicated, but it's hard because you have to be careful with how you convey your message or what you're trying to do here. So the thing is about kids using devices at a young age, such as 13 years old, I view it as kids can't be given absolute freedom, specifically or especially that kind of age, because the internet in itself is a very big, wide, vast realm that might destroy children's mentality in some way or another. They might watch something on the internet, and they might take, oh, that's true, I'll take it like as a life advice, or take that as a, what is it called? As a mentality in some way or another.
Something, if you don't mind.
Aso.
Sorry for interrupting.
Aso,
please.
Would you let Baker finish? I think Baker. I'm not sure. I think Baker, you're not finished just yet.
Yeah. I just want to add
Aso,
something.
before you add something, I know you're eager, but just give Baker a chance to finish before you bring something. It's going to make our process a little smoother. Can you do that, Aso? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll try to sum my point up, which is freedom in itself is a weapon, a double-edged sword. But if that freedom is given to children, especially at that kind of young age, which is the point that Aso mentioned before, that they don't have that kind of full awareness or that full maturity, even though these kind of words needs definitions, but they don't have that full awareness on the consequences of their actions or what they see or what they consume. So the thing is, we have to be careful with what kind of freedom we give to children at that young age. So yeah, that's my point. You can talk, Aso.
I would like to add something, but after Asu, I think. because she wanted to bring something.
Yeah. So, are
Yes.
you gonna come?
Okay, I want to add that if we just think a little bit that if you just choose a specific site to log in, you can find yourself for that you are applied for million sites that distract you from the purpose that you are searching for. So as a kids matter, so they might being involved to different sites which is inappropriate for them as a kids.
Okay, I want to say something about this topic.
Yes.
So I think I disagree with Baker because prohibiting using mobile phones for children, it's too harsh, I think, because I think using mobile phones for children should be like, they should have limited access to the internet, especially social media as Instagram, YouTube, or TikTok, maybe, because, as he said, an awareness they could, this kind of social media can be bad influence for unmature children. So, but just using phones without an internet should be fine, I think.
Can I add to the point? Okay, so the thing is, I kind of agree with what you're saying right now, because that opened another door in front of me, which is that how would the child be able to deal with the responsibility of his own choices if he wasn't given the freedom to do so? So, the thing is, if you're always prohibiting children or restraining them from the world of the internet or the world of devices, they will never know how to use them. They will never know how to know what is good and what is bad on the internet, because they haven't experienced it because of your judgment that that's too bad, they might get affected. But the thing is, ironically, the way that I've been raised was, since I was born, like, devices were in my hands, like since I was 6 years old. So yeah, I would say that this kind of thing like corrupts you to a certain extent. But the thing is, after a while, you will gain some awareness that what I'm doing right now has consequences. If I try to act like that guy that I've seen on TikTok or YouTube, I'm not me. That's not what I want. But at the same time, I've got affected in very good ways because I started like looking at good websites or good YouTube channels like at a such young age, like 10 years old or 11 years old. And that like made me who I am today. So yeah, freedom in itself, like the freedom given children, is I wouldn't say a dangerous thing, but you have to be meticulous with that. You have to be cautious with that. Yeah, so that's my take on Anil opinion, because I found it logical there.
Hello, it is Zini. I want to add something. Can I?
Yeah.
Baker, I agree with you. Yes, children from the age 0 till nowadays, I mean, till the teenagers, 19 years, they use mobile phone so badly. Under the age 12 and certain. Yes, I agree with you that it should be prohibited because the mobile phone affects a children's brain. They can't concentrate to their lesson. They have. I observed some children and read about it that the mobile phone affects children in their academic year. I mean, they have lower academic success. Then it affects their brain. They can't sleep properly. They can't concentrate properly. They are not active as we were in our childhood. They have less how say active life, less active life. They spend their free time using mobile phones. It's something addictive, like some some foods like cola or chips and so on. It attracts children. They have something. They attract children, and these social media or mobile phone as well, it plays something, it affects their brain and some cells in the brain, because children see colorful scenes there and it comes there, but after some time they are addicted because of that. From my child, I have a daughter 13 years old. She can't how say she can't stop using phone. It affects her academic life as well. She's bright, but right now she focuses on her phone to create something, to search something. Maybe somebody disagree with me, but if I had a chance, I wouldn't give her any phone, any computer. But in the other side, on the other hand, nowadays we are addicted to the internet. Real life. We have artificial intelligence. It's not our time. It's time for Z generation. So we should just keep and observe them. That's all. Thank you very much.
Can I say additional things for this topic? Okay, let's talk about this topic. I think it's up to person. For example, if you are using social media applications for your own reason, it's gonna be hard way for taking advantage of social media applications. For example, I have deleted my all of social media application instead of my WhatsApp, and I'm download my new social media applications for learning new language. It's gonna be easy way actually, I think, because using social media applications is one of the most important things I have ever done. Because for example, if you are searching a lot of information, you can search at that time in no time, that. Yeah, so at the time I want to say, for example, I have used social media application for useless things, and it is the hard way for hard way for saving your time. Just spend your time with good things in the social media applications. There are lots of artificial intelligence, as you said, lots of chance you can use. For example, when I have a question, I'm just asking to artificial intelligence for that. That is the so important things actually, I think, because using artificial intelligence is so important. You have learned something, and it is the so important way, I think. So at the same time, there are lots of child using social media applications for useless things. It causes lots of social media addiction. Just you have to get rid of that. I think just don't let it go. Social media application is most important nowadays. Thanks.
So Tofik,
Can I say some?
yeah, 1 second. Tofik, you're saying that there are good and bad ways to use social media, and you're encouraging us to think about how we use it so that we use it in a constructive manner, like you're using it to study. You have some study apps, and I see that you left the stage, so you're not going to respond, but that's what I heard from Tofik. So yeah, go ahead. Back to you.
Okay, so I completely agree with Zini, because 2 years ago I practiced as a teacher at school, and I had classes of pupils like 13, 14 years old, and they were all like addicted to their phones. In the classes, they all like sitting on their phones, watching TikToks, Instagrams, and also why I'm saying that for young children, social media and using internet should be prohibited. They lose all their interest in real life. I think that's what I experienced, because instead of having fun, doing sports, going out with friends, they all like prefer sitting at home in their free time and uh, wasting time on their phones, on the internet, mostly on the internet. So I'm not saying that internet should be prohibited for all teenagers. I'm saying that internet should be prohibited only for kids at young age, for example, under 13 or 14 years old, and after that, when they are mature enough to use internet correctly, so they can have it. So yeah, I agree with Zine. That's all. Thank you.
Can I add to your point? So the thing is, I did go through phases of social media addiction as like, given my age, 17 years old. So the thing is, most of the time, people don't understand why kids in general or teenagers in general go through these kinds of addictions, even though they might be perceived as addiction. But I view them as running away from reality, running away from themselves, and running away from their own emotions. They don't know how to deal with their nature. They don't know how to deal with the reality that they have been given. So they go to something much easier, which is the phone itself, which is scrolling on TikTok, scrolling on YouTube, and whatsoever. So the thing is, if you see any kind of child that is, you view him as addicted to the internet, addicted to his phone, you should know that you have to sit with him, talk with him. There's something in him that is trying to run away from him, if you know what I mean here. So, like for me, I view it as most of the kids that are in addiction stages of the social media, they need some sort of therapy, someone to listen to, because they have a lot in their minds and they haven't really spoken out. I'm pretty sure that like nearly all of them want to go out and live in the world. They want to go and play football. They want to go and play with the other kids, but they are afraid of that. When they like, I did feel some sort of like back in the day, I'm afraid to play with other kids football because I might lose. I'm afraid of losing in real life, so I go where? I go lose on my phone, which is like a less form of an impact, like an emotional impact of losing. So it's just they haven't really gotten honed or like gotten the, what's the word? The courage enough to go and live in their reality.
Okay, I got your point, but I think this kind of escapism, if I pronounce this right,
Escapism.
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 Escapism, yes, right. Thank you very much, James. I think that's a psychological issue that comes from their childhood, and this is probably the mistake of their parents, that not giving him enough attention, so they chose to lose their time on phones instead of doing real life stuff. Yeah, so as a parents, this is your, how do I say, you must give your child attention and love, because if you don't do this, they're going to look for it in other places like internet or Instagram. So that's why if you cannot control your children's life, if you don't have influence in it, maybe it's easier for him to not use internet at all. So yeah, I think that's parents' faults when children do this. So I would like to hear James' opinion about it, if you don't mind.
My opinion is that parents can be responsible for raising their children and make up their minds. In some families, some parents may want to, restrict their children's access to technology up to a certain point, and that there's no one right way to do it. But generally, I think issues of raising children are best left to parents, and some, may be very interested to make an informed decision and research the impacts of phones and all kinds of things and make a decision from that. And some parents may not. Some parents may be more cavalier and just say, oh, just give it to them, it's fine. And maybe that's not the best thing, but I'd still leave it to the parents to raise their own children.
So did we have like debate now, or what was this? Maybe if other people don't want to say their opinion, we can change the topic. If some of you
We can
guys
change the topic at any time.
Opposed?
The only thing that I ask is anybody can change the topic at any time. What the procedure here for changing the topic was simply this. Just say to the group, I'd like to talk about something else. Is that okay? And then we'll get a straw poll, we'll get some feedback, and if the group says, yeah, go ahead, then you can bring in something different. If the group says, hold on, there's actually more about this that I'd like to cover, then we just ask that you hold on, we finish one topic first before moving on to the next. Can somebody tell me what I said about how we change the topic here?
May I?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You said if we want, we can change the topic, but we started with that. Said, I want to talk about this topic, and I want to change topic.
Yeah. You
And
don't.
added your
Yeah, you
information.
you don't have to say what the topic is. You don't have to say, group, I want to talk about the history of France. Is that okay? You just say, I just want to change the topic. And then you see if people are finished with the current topic or not. Great, that's right. So, back to you. And Saru, I see you're... Just one moment. Saru, I see you're asking if you can talk in the text. But you don't have to... You can leave the text completely. You can just come right in here on the stage and use your voice to say whatever it is you'd like.
Okay, hello. Are you listening?
Yeah, hi, Saru.
Yeah, it's a weird name. Okay. I want to talk about like this mobile phones thing that you guys were talking about. That like this guy there, I think his name is Anton or something like that. He said that like children like that are under the age of 13 should be prohibited of like using mobile phones. So like, I am 14 years old, and like I've been using the internet like for a really long time, and I feel like it shouldn't be so like go to the point that there should be like laws trying to like make it so children like that in like that age like being not able to use it, because like I feel like it's something that it's really important for like my life. I feel like using internet and stuff too much is sometimes a problem, but it should be like mixed and not just blocking children of like using it. It should be like kind of mixed. I think some parents should like try and balance it to make like so children sometimes don't like use it too much, but at the same time like I've learned a lot like in the internet. I've learned English in like watching videos and stuff just of people speaking English, and like I feel like it's something that it shouldn't like just be like taken away from like children. And like if you really want to like go to this really extreme point, I think maybe you should like try to like remove it from children, I don't know, from maybe 8 years old, but like not under 13, because like I think that's too old, and I think like children that age aren't like too I don't know, too like, I don't know a word for that, but like I feel like that's too much, because like it's something that really was internet itself was something that like really changed my life, so I feel like that would be just too much.
I just want to add to to the last this thread. The most negative effect of this mobile, for example, is unpaid social development. Giving the early access to these devices is generally children brains in the initial stages are very susceptible to these nobility, and their brains are so focused on these new things because there's constant nobility. So this hinder the face-to-face interaction. So they don't develop friendship. They don't go outside because they're stuck to the screen. It's reduced empathy and emotional intelligence, and children become more prone to cyberbullying and exposure to inappropriate content, and which is very poorly enforced in online space. And then if this continues, then they don't develop the personalities and the social skills to make friends and relationships.
I hear that thread running throughout.
No answer.
Well, I have an answer. I hear that desire running through a lot of what people are saying, which is that whether you want to restrict the use of the phones or not, the goal that I think everyone seems to share is that they'd like people, children, maybe everyone, to have a chance to develop the ability to be fully socialized in a healthy way so that they can have the relationships that they want and become fully realized, fully matured members of society and adults.
Can I add some points?
Go ahead, Zane.
So, it is actually a general thing, social media, distraction, internet, all of these. It doesn't only apply for people under 13, it applies for everyone, even someone with 40 years of age. It all really depends on you, how open-minded you are. So the thing is, in the end of the day, you might want to be using internet in a positive way. As this guy Saru, I suppose it was Saru, right? So this guy just said that he used internet for learning and speaking English, like he used internet for having important information, having valuable contents, having like going through valuable content and everything like that. But you don't see so many people at age 12 or 13 with that mentality. For example, there could be some kids with a very good mentality, and they think they only go to internet for example, watching book, learning English, building a skill set, things like that. But so many kids nowadays, you can just see that they only play games all day, and in other words, you can say, I don't want to mention the name, but most of them also go to the, forbidden websites and do ejaculation, if you want to call it. So yeah, a lot of bad habits from those people who are under 18 and even above 18. I see a lot of people above 18, 20, 25. It all really doesn't matter as long as you are using the internet in a negative way. You are forbidden from internet. You just have to take a step back, and you have to look at what things you are doing wrong, and that is something that needs discipline and willpower, and that is something that not so many people can do actually. So if you use internet for example, creating contents, using it for having a source of income or learning English, learning a skill, that's okay. That's a great thing. But if you're someone, it doesn't matter regardless of your age. If you're using it for playing games all day, watching videos without limited, without balance, then you really should, just limit yourself as well, not just the teenagers, like not just the people under 13 or under 15. It all comes down to everybody. Everybody. I see people above 30 using internet in a very negative way. Just wasting their time all day in front of the computer, just doing nothing. So that is a very bad thing.
I
If you
feel
know-
like you should really balance that, because like sometimes playing games and stuff is okay, but like I think you can't
course.
just do that. You need to balance a bit. But like that's
I
not.
I,
think
I
just,
did mention
Yeah, because like I feel just that removing like the mobile phones and stuff like from children, that's sometimes a bit too much. I think parents and stuff, like they need to be like they need to understand that like it needs
course,
to be balanced and not just like removing them.
you
'cause,
can
like I think that's a bit too much.
for the kids under 10 or under 8 who cannot think properly. Oh shit.
Yes. But like I think like maybe like when you're I don't know 12 or something.
Internet
I
issue,
think
sorry.
You can be a bit much. I don't fucking know how to say it. But like I think like you can understand this. But like when you're too young, like I don't know 8 years old or like maybe 10, I think then it really needs to like parents need to see it, like see what children are seeing in the internet and stuff. Like they need to balance this. But like I feel like when you're 12 or maybe 13, you can understand this. You shouldn't just like try to remove
Yeah,
this
yeah.
from the children.
Of course.
Just to-
Balance is everything.
Can I say something?
Who wanted to come in just now?
Anton.
Can I say something?
Who is I? Just say your name so I can get your name.
Yeet.
Eat. Okay, 1 second. So just really quickly, a time check. I am doing 90 minutes, but because I had some internet issues, I started later. So we have 45 more minutes from here. I'm going to continue for another 45 minutes. Go ahead, Yeet.
Thank you, sir. How are you supposed to pull hot shotties on Snapchat if you're young?
Can you repeat it, please? I didn't catch it.
Yeah, I didn't really understand.
How are you supposed to pull hot shotties from Snapchat?
How are you supposed to what?
To pull hot shouties or girls from Snapchat. That's what he said.
That's what I thought. Just checking. Is that right? You want to meet girls? Yeet.
Sorry, I'm having some internet trouble.
So I think that's the main problem when children try to meet girls through the internet, not in the real life. They're trying to find ways to meet women or girls in the internet.
Anel, can I step in? What I want to say is, parents can add parental control on phones and see what their children are doing, like what are they up to.
Go ahead, Annel.
Well, in the end, all this boils down to the same thing, that children are susceptible to technology, and the access should be given under the surveillance or supervision of parents, and the free access should be restricted. And that's the conclusion.
If you're a parent, you could probably, sorry if I'm interrupting someone, but I have something to say. Give your children time limits on the phone.
Well, it's totally depend upon what they want to do. And if they have some important activity to do, definitely the time will vary. And the burden goes to the parents to how much long they have to supervise. But I think there is I don't know, yeah, it's possible to restrict, add surveillance applications to see what the children are watching or not. But it's boiled down to the same thing. There's no free accesses. If the access is given, it should be planned and more strategic.
What I also have to say again is, why do you guys think that 13-year-olds or younger are stupid?
I don't think that. I am 14. I don't think that. I never said that.
I'm 13, but I've never done something stupid in my life.
Yeah, that's why I said that. Like, I think children, at least like at the age 12 or like maybe 13, they are not that dumb, you know. I feel like maybe 10 years old, it's fine.
Yeah,
But it really
around
depends to,
around
like,
11.
yeah, but I think it really depends to like the person, because like some people are kind of, you know, dumber than others, you know. So like it's not just about the age, but actually about like, I think parents should understand their children and like based on that try to restrict it. But like if parents know that their children aren't like that dumb, you know, I feel like you can't just remove the internet from them, you know. It really varies for like, it really depends to like from people to people. It's not about the age, you know.
Yeah, I didn't hear anybody say that younger people are stupid. I heard people say that younger people need some guidance from adults, from their parents, so that they can learn how to use things in a healthy, constructive way. And I wonder, Yeet, if you would agree with that. Do you think that children need some kind of guidance, or are they able to do everything on their own, figure out the world on their own, and how to use things that are available, tools and all kinds of things on their own?
Can I say something about it?
Yeah.
So about the guidance, I think, as we said before, as we mentioned, parents should be able to understand when their kids is mature enough to not doing guidance on his internet access, or doing some restrictions on their internet. I think it depends on the children themselves. So yeah, it's my opinion.
Yeah, I feel it really depends to like, you know, parents should know their children and like based on that like try and restrict people, because like, you know, I've used the internet like for a long time, and like my parents know that I like understand things, you know. I can like understand stuff, right? So like they don't really try to, you know, remove the internet from me. But like when I started using the internet, then like they actually try to like see what I was seeing and stuff, because like I didn't know stuff. But like I feel like some children like didn't have this, you know. Some children like started using the internet like when they were like, I don't know, 12 or something, and I've used it before. So like I feel like these children actually don't know that well, you know, even though they have like the same age of like they have the same age like for me, you know. And like I feel like it really depends from the children you're talking about, like, because like some children actually know more and some don't, you know. And I feel like parents should know that, and based on that like try to restrict them, but you know.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Mr. Green,
Hi, Stars.
Baker, Zinni, everyone. So we already agree here that that's kind of guidance. Like Saro, the internet was your guidance, you see? Even though you are having your guidance from your parents, but the internet itself was your guidance. You've been using the internet for a very long time already, even though that you are, as you say, 14 years old. And you just mentioned that you have some friends that only use the internet for like maybe the same age, but only like when they were like 12, 11. So you are more experienced. So, of course, you know about this IQ test for mentality age, not the physical age. So if you go past that exam, for example, and you have some like few of your friends same age, you will score higher than them. Why? Because your knowledge has been expanded. How? Two ways: parent guidance and the internet guidance. So I'm not gonna say that you've been using the internet in the bad way. Like, I don't want to mention words here, but we already know what is good and what is bad when using the internet. If you're using it to learn and teach yourself and having some good guidance, that's okay. In my time, back in time, even before the internet, what we used to do is befriend those who are older than us, like away from the family circle. Let's talk about, let's say that you are in first year in high school, your friends might be in the last year in high school, you see? So they are older than you. That was another way of guidance for us. And this is how we grow, how we gain experiences, how we know things even without going through it. Like I don't need to put my hand in the fire to know that fire is gonna burn me, or my hand is going to be burned. So that's another way for guidance. The internet, how to use it, the friends around you, those with experiences, and you can be a guide to those who are similar to you or close to you in the age, because your knowledge more expand here. You see? Sorry if I told them off.
Yes, hello, stars and everyone again. It is Ine. You know, using social medias is have some benefits and some disadvantages. You know, about 7 or 6 years ago, I was so popular in Twitter that I couldn't live without it. I couldn't live without my friends, online friends. We couldn't meet in real life, but we were so close that I couldn't imagine my life without them and without the internet. But one day I thought a lot. I thought that it's not real life. You should go on. It stopped my plans about future, about my future life. I stopped. I left social medias, not all, but some of them, for 3 or 4 years. Then I came back. Right now, I use Instagram. I have some friends there. I use Discord. I use Threads, Twitter again. To be honest, I used a few days. downloaded. I'm sorry. TikTok, but I dislike it. I can't bear it. You know, there are some so mixed social media. Just my friend asked me to download it. She's active there, but I can't join there. I have no time for spending them. What about spending time? Did I waste my time? No. I gained many friends. I improved my English. I I learned many things from internet. Yes, and for kids it's the same, but overusing and letting them to use phones and internet for hours, it's really bad. Just we should limit them using internet and social medias. For example, sorry, I mentioned that I have a daughter. I prohibited her to use TikTok, Instagram. She's just chatting with her group mates. That's all. I can't let, and she's using some applications to edit and to create some videos. That's all. I can't let her everything.
That raises a heavy burden on parents here. I just have that thought in my mind about surveillance. How to compromise between discipline, guidance, and surveillance. How to win that trust bond between you and your kid.
Have you ever heard of the phrase free range? Free range. This is a term that is used in talking about certain animals, like when you have a cow or farm animals. Some people think they would like. Some people think they would like to eat food from animals that live outside rather than in a factory farm. And these are called free range, right? So free range cows would be cows that are allowed to walk around outside freely rather than spend their whole life inside like a barn, like a prison for farm animals. So free range. This term has been used to describe children nowadays, the difference between children who grew up before the internet and after the internet. Obviously, I grew up before the internet, and so we played outside, and we would say goodbye to our parents and run around the neighborhood free range. Nobody was watching us. There was no video cameras. There was no adults. And, there were good and bad things about that. Whereas now, it seems that many more children are always, their parents always know exactly where they are. If they're going out, they usually are with an adult. It's different. So I just wanted to introduce that term, free-range children. Not to say that one is better than the other, but it is different. One of the, it sounds nice. There was a lot of freedom, but one of the things that was bad, just from my memory, about often not having adult supervision is that there was a kind of environment that was like Lord of the Flies. If you're familiar with the novel Lord of the Flies is about a group of young boys about that age, about 13, who find themselves stranded on an island in the ocean alone. Their shipwreck crashes and the parents, the adults die, but the children survive, and they they live on an island together and they try to survive. And because they're not adults, or not to say that adults would necessarily do better, but the children are developing and trying to figure out how to relate to each other, and it becomes very wild, and some of the children become very mean to each other. And there's a poignant moment in that story that I always think of, as the children become very hostile to each other and they're fighting physically. Eventually, at the end of the story, the Navy comes and they find the boys, and the boys, when the adults come, the boys all cry because they realize something has gone wrong and they don't understand it, but they have finally found, or been able, now they can again rely on the adults to kind of make things all right, or at least give them some guidance. And it's easy to understand why they would want that. Although while they were alone, they couldn't have that, and so they did the best they could. Interesting. I think it relates to this topic of learning.
So,
Huh?
excuse me, can I say something?
Sure.
Can I share my screen? I have a whole essay dedicated to this topic.
You have an essay.
This topic.
Yeah. Instead of sharing the essay, would you talk with us about it?
Sure, but I really, really want to show it.
I get it. So yeah. So for the time being, I would suggest you talk about it. You with us, Yeet? Yeet?
Yes, I have something to show.
Yeah. So is this something that you wrote?
Yes, and it is very, very, very good.
Great. So tell us about it.
What I like to say is, I hate nigger, suck my dick, faggot, suck my dick, nigger.
Okay.
Wow, he's so fucking funny.
Come on, guys, it's not something new.
I kinda expected.
Just
Yeah, he
imagine
wasn't talking
me
anything.
or the other new ones. Imagine
It was
James.
really obvious.
He's used to this.
And it was very good that you didn't allow him to share his screen, I think.
Yeah, that's
So-
that's the experience. Here comes the experience.
So
and
I
the
would like to-
responsibility as well.
Even trolls
So
are people.
I would like
Yeah,
to-
go ahead.
About this Lord of the Flies, if I'm not mistaken. So in my personal experience, I grew up with the children who never had an internet. And right now I'm kind of working with children and teenagers who's been using internet their almost whole life. And I've noticed some differences between these two types of children. First type, children who never used internet. That's very rare thing right nowadays. They are very, how do I say it? They are not restrained as children who used internet their whole life. So They are not quiet, they are very loud, and they are not. Yeah, on the other side, children who grew up using internet. Yep.
I think I just missed. I missed the. Which is it? So the people who grew up using the internet their whole life are less reserved, or more reserved. Which is it?
They are more restrained, I think, more serene. I don't know.
The ones who grew up using the internet their whole life.
Reserved, yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, they're more reserved, I think. Yeah.
What do you think might be if that's true, what do you think might be the reason for that?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Okay. I know like you guys are talking like about how some kids are some way because they grew up like with the internet, but like I think saying that like for like because many people grew up with like the internet, and like at the same time I know some children at my age are kind of like that guy there that did some trolling and things like that. I know some kids like are kind of like, I don't know how to describe them, but like they do some really dumb stuff, but like at the same time I know many people who like they are so fucking cool. Sorry, I used a bad word, but like I know some people that are really cool, you know, and they are my age and they wouldn't do something like that. So like I feel like just saying that all the children are one way because like they grew up with the internet is like something that shouldn't really be said, because like that's the point of view of like people who grew up without the internet, you know, they didn't grow up with the internet and that's how they see children who grew up with it. So like at the same time I feel like nostalgia actually kind of messes your opinion, you know, opinion of people who grew up without it, because like you feel like, I don't know, my parents felt like their like childhood was better than mine, but at the same time like my grandparents felt the same way for like my parents, you know. That's something that when I grow up I will probably like be, oh, at my time I used the internet and it was so fucking cool, but like now they are too dumb and things. That's like the way that you think, because like you lived one way, you know, and like now you think that way because like, you know, you have nostalgia, you like the way you grew up, you know, you made many friends, you had like good experiences, and like just saying that, oh, everyone that is from this generation is that way, I don't feel like that's a good thing to say, you know. I know many people who are good, I know many people who aren't good, you know, and it isn't really about the age, it's more about like personality and stuff. And I feel like sometimes like people who say that, oh, children nowadays are that way, I feel like it's something that, you know, like it really, you think that way because like you had a great view of like your childhood, but like at the same time you don't know how children nowadays like are seeing the world. Sometimes like they are having a good time, and like when they grow up they will think that like the same way of like about like children that are like younger than them. So like I actually think nostalgia really changes like the way people think, you know. I don't think like children my age like every single one of them some way, and they like everyone that like grew up with internet, or every one of them are like horrible and like they are so dumb and stuff like that. I don't feel like that, you know. I feel like people are different, and like it doesn't really matter like the way they grew up. Actually, like it actually matters a bit, but like it's not like their whole personality is going to be just based on that, you know. I don't feel like just saying that is something that really makes sense. I feel like nostalgia really changes the way you think things, you know, and the way you see things.
Sorrow, may I ask you, if you
Yeah.
please, um, what's the occupation of your parents, for example?
Stars.
What?
If you don't want to
Stars.
ask to answer, it's okay.
I'm gonna jump in. So
Okay.
I can
But,
understand.
but
Sorry.
my point, I guess.
Try to just hold on a second. So you could begin to interview Saru and get his personal information and stuff. I want to encourage you to try something different. It's going to be, the result is going to be completely different because Saru came in with very clear point. And what we do here is instead of going to the personal, if you remember that chart that I had before, the personal, right? You could ask somebody about their personal connection to a topic. We can also keep our eye on the topic and depersonalize it, because what Saru is talking about really is something that I call a stereotypical group. Things that are like, if you're a man or a woman, or if you're from a certain country or your age, these are differences at the level of stereotype. And they're very different. Those groupings, grouping each of us in our stereotypical groupings is very different than grouping us in our, what I call functional subgroups. It's a technical word for what we do here, our thoughts and feelings, So can you, instead of directing us towards Saru and his personal life and his parents and all of that, can you instead do what we do here, which is join the subgroup? Bring yourself in and reflect, summarize, and see if you can join Saru.
Yeah, of course. It's just was a question, and I knew that it's that's why I asked him, can I ask you a question? And that's, of course, you're right.
I'm glad you already know.
Yeah, of course. But the background behind that question actually is that I like Saru's mentality. You see, like he kind of like having this maturity in him, even though he is that young. If you scroll up, when he said that I'm kind of embarrassed from what this guy just said, I kind of liked it a lot in that age, you see. So Saru is an example here. A young person at early stages in his life, and he thinks like that. He even gave an expression of embarrassment of someone close to his age, but acting differently. Immaturity act, if I might say. And I was asking that question earlier because, that is kind of a guidance. He had some guidance. And that will lead me to maybe a different question, but it's allowed and it's okay, into the subgroup. What is it that kind of interests you, Saru, when you are using the internet? Because from what I see, like maybe your interests here kind of different from your equals. So can you, shed some light here? What's your interests when you are using the internet? Because we already know that nowadays.
What are your
using
interests,
TikTok.
Stars? I'm not gonna allow it. I want you to tell us what your interests are, Stars, because it's not about Saru. That's the point. See, it could be anyone. We all.
Yes, it's just the age criteria.
Well, I don't even know if it is that. It might be, but I think the point that Saru is bringing in, which I want to make sure comes in the group, is that even people who are that age have different thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, that's right.
12 minutes left. I want to go to the silent subgroup now. Silent subgroup is part of the time where I invite anyone who hasn't found their way in, hasn't yet spoken. There's a lot of value in the silence, and if we bring it in, it the group benefits. So if there's anybody who hasn't yet spoken, now would be a good chance to do it. We'll have about 6 minutes for the silent subgroup, 5 minutes for our closing surprises and learnings.
Hello?
Yes. Go ahead, Aso.
Honestly,
Go ahead, Aso.
yes. I want to say that it is so beneficial issue today to discuss the advantages and disadvantages of using mobile phone for kids and even for adults. So I want to thank that member who suggested that topic today, and you also, James. Each time we enjoyed our time with you and with the other members here by discussing certain issue. Back to the group.
Yeah, the topic had a lot of juice, a lot of interest. Nelly, you're on the stage now, and you've been in the sound subgroup. Anything you want to bring in?
Lord of Supplies. I remembered that I had read an article about a real event where children were living alone on an island without parents, and it turned out quite different than the story. The children were not fighting each other but collaborating. So I wanted to bring that information in.
Great. Thank you. I remember talking with you about that in the past, and I forgot about that. Yeah, I'm glad you brought it back in. I think children, in a way, are like people. I mean, they are people. They're like adults in the sense that you can find almost anything you're looking for. If you want to find people doing bad things, you can find it. If you want to find people doing good things, you can find it.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Saru.
Yeah, sorry. Like, I have two brothers. I am the older one, so like they are all younger than me, and like I feel like that's the thing that really happens, that like sometimes actually being like younger actually makes you sometimes like kind of like not too mature, but like at the same time, because my youngest brother, like he like grew up with like two brothers that are like really older than him. So like my younger brother is actually like, compared to children his age, they are actually like he's actually really smart, and I feel like sometimes it really depends like for like the child and like how he grew up, because like my youngest brother, he grew up like with two like older brothers who like actually taught him like many things. So like I think some children actually are sometimes smarter and sometimes actually act some like somewhat like adults and stuff. Like it's not actually the same. They are younger, so like they are not that smart and stuff. But what I'm trying to say is that some adults are not that mature, and some children are like more mature than like actually some actual adults, I feel like most of children like are sometimes they actually like less actually smart and stuff, but I don't feel like that's like a rule. My youngest brother like learned like he grew up like with two older brothers who actually like taught him many things. So like he's actually really smart, you know, and sometimes he's actually really mature. So I feel like sometimes it's not about the age, and it's more like about how the the person actually grew up, in like what ambient he grew up, and like with like what people he was like with, you know. So I actually think like some children actually are more mature, and it doesn't really like it isn't too much about the age. It influences, you know. If I'm too young, I'm actually obviously going to be like less used to living and stuff, and like I am going to make more mistakes and stuff. But like that's how you learn, you know. I've learned English like by actually doing mistakes and stuff. And like I feel like it's not too much about like the age, and it's more about like the way you grew up and how you learn things, you know.
I agree. I think that children can be capable of all kinds of amazing things and are often quite intelligent and, like you, able to choose something that's important to them and do it. Like you're interested in English and you're spending time watching videos, learning, making mistakes, giving yourself an opportunity to learn, and learning how to be a person within the, you know, within who you are in your biology, right? Your whatever age you are, you have there are definitely biological processes as you age and develop. You know, the brain of a 5-year-old is different than the brain of a 10-year-old and a 20-year-old, but within that you can develop and learn and be a person. I'm gonna move now to this to surprises and learnings. This is the wrap-up portion. We have 5 minutes. You can bring in something from today's session, the last 90 minutes or so, that you were surprised by, something you learned, something you liked, something you did not like, something you discovered that was new, and something that you would like to do. Anybody have a surprise or learning? And I'm going to just one more time post the link to my class tomorrow. So if you want to continue working with me in spaces like this, on conversations like this, you can join me tomorrow. And every Monday. And then other times. Anybody have a surprise or learning?
I'm satisfied with the topic. It's very interesting. Yeah, social media addict and everything. Yeah, I'm glad I came here, listened, and participated.
Yeah,
Can
for
I
me,
say
Lord
something?
of the Flies.
Stars and then Unnell. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
for me.
Stars. Yeah. What about Lord of the Flies?
That's something new for me. I kind of liked it from what I read about it.
Ah. You had not known about.
So yeah,
You had not known about the
No,
novel.
No, to be
Okay.
honest, ever. But it's
Oh, yeah.
kind of very interesting.
Classic. Great.
Indeed, you know.
Discovery. All right. Anel?
Yeah, thank you very much. So, in conclusion, I think, I'm sorry, mostly it depends on the parents, how, as Saru said, how children will grow up. Because as I mentioned before, I worked at school 2 years ago, and I've experienced that the children who are very mature and who are very good, have
Anel?
very good behavior.
Anel? I'm gonna I'm just
Yeah.
I'm gonna actually cut you off because you're continuing the conversation, but I'm actually inviting something a little bit different. For these last 2 minutes, we have a time to kind of reflect on the class. It's a little bit like a meta discussion of what we've done as a class. So we've stopped the conversation and joining about the topic of children, but I'm instead asking you to reflect on the class. Did you learn something? Did you discover something about the class, or did you like something, dislike something about the class, the time we spent together?
Oh, okay. I apologize. Yeah, I've learned much things about the book, about Lord of Flies. I liked it. Yeah, thank you.
Great. And Kay, you joined on the stage. Did you have a surprise or learning? A satisfaction from Saru. Well, we had a nice class. I would agree. I always like being here, but I would agree. Okay, that's the class. Thanks for joining, everybody. As I said before, you could join me again tomorrow, or if you want to get in touch with me, James Green chat in the group is the best way. See you later, everybody. Have a good day and good week.
Thanks.
Thanks, Stars. Bye, Stars. Bye, Nelly. Bye, Zinni. Bye, Kay. Bye, everybody.